The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, are based solely on our personal opinions and shit we heard in the streets.
The content here should not be taken as indisputable fact. This show is for entertainment purposes only, so enjoy and don't come for us.
Welcome back to another episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy with Bree and Dee.
Hello, hello.
And we're back continuing our episode about Sean. Is his middle name Love?
He changed it to Love. It wasn't Love to begin with.
Ew. He's
Remember
such
that picture I sent of
cornball.
you of his Instagram picture? It's just like his eye with the heart. That was horrible. Like all his Instagram captions are love, and it's like that's a threat.
Cornball. Yeah, Love from P. Diddley, the P. Diddler. That's a thing that you do not want. But before we jump into Sean, quote unquote, Love comes, life updates. So I wanted to explain. So we have an episode that is our most popular episode. It's called We Hate Our Own Baby Daddies, where we kind of go in depth about like, our own relationships with our baby daddies. I went ahead and made it like subscriber only because I was advised to do that because I am going through a situation and I don't want to exacerbate the situation. So I was advised to like put it on a private so there's no argument if allegedly, I don't know how to say this, if things were to get to that point with my custody situation where anybody could argue that I'm like antagonizing or talking shit or whatever. So if you were like, why can't I access this episode? That's because it is subscriber only. I think for like a monthly subscription to our subscriber only content, it's like $1.99. So if you want to, access that stuff, become a subscriber. Otherwise, we'll just pretend it's not there. But that's what's going on with that. So for the next couple of episodes, while I like figure out my personal shit, I'm probably not going to be going in depth about that stuff. But yeah, so just wanted to explain that.
Yeah, I'm glad that was already like. I'm glad that we caught it before it became something that could have action on. Like it's really hard to like how to verbally sidestep what you want to say. How you want to say about the situation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's going on with that. Otherwise, I mean, I don't have much to report. Like, me and my daughter are doing really well. My boyfriend took us shopping this past weekend, and he got her like Juicy Couture onesies.
Oh, he
It
knows
was
you too
so
well.
It was adorable. And, I'm such a millennial. We love Juicy. And I broke this bracelet that he got me. It's a really fancy bracelet. And I was like devastated about it. And I was like, oh my God, let's go to the mall, get it fixed. So we got it fixed. We had lunch. Like it was really sweet. Like my daughter loves him. Like it's so adorable seeing them interact.
Yeah. On that note, since you can't listen to the hate episode, we do recommend that you listen to We Do Love the Red Scare. So, just as a
Yeah.
plug-in, we do love them. So,
Yeah, that episode's called We Love Your Baby Mama featuring the Red Scare because it's our interview with him and like what it's like for him being a successful man dating a single mother because of the stereotype out there that like, well, first of all, if you're over 30, which I'm about to be 34 like next week, like if you're over 30, they're like, lose all hope, you hit the wall, you're not gonna find anybody. BS, right? And then they also say like nobody wants to date anybody with kids, but we break stereotypes on this show. That's what we do. So check it out.
yeah, it's sweet. She doesn't want me to call it sweet, but it's sweet. Gives you hope. Nothing's new on my end. Nothing's absolutely new on my end. Again, we're just chugging along. There's nothing new with me. I'm trying to think. I mean, like, besides just like seeing everything that's going on with this dude, that's about it. It's like every single day. You see
Oh,
something new
it's
about
Diddy.
the diddler. Yeah, it's just like he did what, and it's like, yeah, he did that shit.
Oh, did you want to talk about Easter?
Oh, Easter. Yeah, that was kind of awkward. I didn't spend it. I actually went behind his back. I wanted to like really piss him off, and I wanted to give our prank some credence. Like, just went to his parents' house.
Was it fun?
It was pleasant. His mom told me more than I needed to know. I was just like, okay,
The moms
thanks.
be spilling all the tea. Like my baby daddy's mom one time, she was just like, he was in rehab. We had an intervention from him. I'm like, dude, I don't need to. What? Why are you telling me this?
Are you telling me to run? Like,
This was
it's
after
too
I was
late now.
pregnant. Like,
Yeah, it's too
I
late.
I met her so many times before that. She didn't tell me anything like that. I'm sitting here holding my belly, like, is my baby gonna have alcoholism? But anyway, I'm sorry. So it was awkward.
No, it was fine. It was fine. Like I said, it was like my second pair. Like we were very close at one point, so it was like kind of normal. But it was just kind of
That's
funny
good.
when he was like, "Oh, FaceTime me the baby." I just FaceTime him, and I'm sitting on his parents' couch next to his mom. He's like, "What? What?"
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
These are my parents now.
This
You're
is my
getting
house.
disowned.
I'm literally Joanne the scammer. Get out of my Caucasian home.
All the Caucasians to the back. Looks better already.
You're gonna make me die.
Oh my god. Do we have any baby daddy updates? I have one.
You have one. I have another. I saw Jackie Chan post for his birthday, and a lot of people thought that he kicked his last kick when they were posting pictures of him. But it was his birthday, and of course he didn't like have pictures with his real family. He had a picture with fucking Jaden Smith, and everybody's like, "Don't you have
Shut up.
actual children?"
Shut up. Oh, I see what you mean. Good lord.
Yeah, like they have like they put Jackie on a T-shirt. Everybody was like, "Oh my god."
With the wings behind the back and dates like the year.
Yeah, I was just like, "Oh, we're wishing Jackie Chan a happy birthday." It's like that's not how you worded that. That's not how you
That
made
is
that picture look.
so funny. Um, I have an update about Kanye West. So he is out here with his wife. Like, you know how he's like been parading her around, and she just, she's. I don't even know how to describe what she's wearing, but like most recently, she was wearing just a sheer. I don't even know how to describe it. It looks like a condom. That's what everybody in the comments are saying. They're like, "Is your wife wearing a condom?" Like that's just it. And she's wearing like this flesh colored nude sheer dress, so it does look like a condom. And then she's wearing red stockings, I guess, and like high heeled, open toed like heels. And it's so it just looks crazy. Like she looks crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even surprised. Like he made a promise that was a threat that she was going to go pantsless all 2024, and it's just like this isn't an improvement, but sure, whatever. You know, they said that Kim pulled it to the side and was like, "You can't dress like this around my kids, man." Like that's
Did she really? Good for her.
yeah. They said that like they speculated that they might have because they saw her and Kim face to face at one point, and they were like kind of talking alone without like Kanye in the corner, like a big old gum boots. And yeah, after that, she started to get like as modest as she possibly could, which meant soft core, I guess, for her.
Oh god, that's disgusting. Like, yeah, because they go to the kids like sports games and stuff, so she can't be wearing condoms and and stockings at those. Gross.
I don't
Um,
care who you are or how good you look. I will scream security if you're near my kid. Like what?
she's streaking. Catch her. Did you see Nick Cannon? He posted Easter pictures with I think it was most of his kids, and in some of them it was like him wearing an Easter bunny costume. And people were like, "How do they really know that Nick is in there?" He didn't just
That's so
hire somebody
sad.
for the younger ones to be like, "Oh, Daddy's in there."
That's pathetic. They probably don't. They're like, oh, this is the guy that comes around once a year. This is the year that he comes. Okay.
I'm
You know what's really
dead.
messed up? I saw
What?
like I saw Nick Cannon getting dragged by Dr. Umar.
For what? Oh, for race mixing.
Yeah. It was just funny because he was like, "Why do you keep pumping them out? Why do you keep doing it?" Like Dr. Umar needed answers. It was just funny to me because it's just like it's obviously his fetish. Like this is like a breeding fetish for him,
Right.
and he's trying to circumvent it. He's like, "Well,
This
my
was
mom looks like Mariah Carey, so I've always had an attraction to ambiguous looking women." And Dr. Umar is like pulling up a picture of his mom, just like a regular brown skinned woman, and you can just like hear the bells tolling as he like gets his.
oh my god. And it's what's funny, him and Dr. Umar are both hoteps, like for listeners who don't know what hoteps are, I don't even know how to describe what a hotep is. Like it's like a
Okay,
very
wait. How can I describe a hotep?
like
And like,
like Nation of Islam, like those type of like
you know what a okay, the person that really likes anime and stuff like that, like a weeaboo. Like
that's like an
imagine
internet
that.
hotep.
Yeah, like imagine that, but instead of Japan, make it Egypt, and except make the Egyptians all like West Africans. Like they get really confused about African
Right.
geography.
They're very confused because like I'm Ghanaian, as you guys know by now if you listen to our episodes, and they're like for some reason they think that like Egyptians, who I mean you've probably seen what an average modern Egyptian person looks like. They are North Africans. They don't look anything like West Africans, but they think I don't even really know the details of what they think, but they're very confused people. And so one of the main things that hoteps like to say is that they like to be polyamorous and have harems of women. Like so Nick Cannon, if you ever see him wearing that hat, what's it called? A kofi? Wearing that hat.
That's a literal
Kufi.
like beauty supply store turban. He doesn't even have a
Right.
kufi.
He just yeah,
He's
he
not even
wears
on that level yet.
he's on the Koofy level. That's I think Dr. Umar wears them.
He does.
And
He's like the
and
king.
and yeah, and isn't he from Philly? Didn't you tell me he's from Philly?
Literally, Dr. Umar is from North Philly. Like that's why I'm like, does anybody know where he's like, where he's like randomly parks on like a bench or something and is just hanging out? I want to be like, hey, Dr. Umar, I want to tell you you were right. You were right. I made some mistakes in my life.
He's gonna be like, come closer, my child. You're the product of race mixing.
No. He's gonna squint at me real hard.
And just point.
I'll start burning. No, he's like officially banned you. He'll like you will receive a letter in the mail that you are no longer part of the black delegation.
Oh my god. We should tag him. Just like, Dr. Umar, what do you think of our show? Race mixers, you're canceled.
He's gonna be like, so you were on the snow puppies. I'm like, no, I don't want Dr. Umar. He's gonna like literally kill us.
These bed winches.
I mean, fair enough. I learned.
He's got us with that.
I can't hate him. It's like, and he's, what I actually like about him? He's not at least hypocritical because
Yeah.
he's just like, oh yeah, I'm not
Nobody
doing
can
what you
call him
should.
hypocritical. Whereas, like, you have Nick Cannon out here preaching that Nation of Islam, Hotep shit, but then has never touched a black woman in his life. So,
Except his mom, which he doesn't want to, which he's trying to deny that she's black and we have eyes.
she looks like Mariah, bitch. Mariah who?
Can you imagine Mariah reading that? Like, I'm attracted to women that look like Mariah Carey, and Mariah Carey reminded me of my
She'd probably
mom.
never log back into the internet ever again after she read that.
That's why she's quiet and she minds her business. She only comes out on Christmas. You know what?
She
That's what
does.
happens when you date or marry a really embarrassing dude. Like, there's no coming back from that. Like after Nick, you never saw Mariah again.
That's true. I mean, if you like in past episodes, it's always like the first baby mama is always like, well, usually the most quiet one. Not in like Rick Ross's case, but like in other cases, you like never hear from them. Like you never hear from Elon Musk's baby dad or baby mom. You never hear from like who did we do?
Like all the first wives.
Oh, Donald Trump. You never hear from Donald Trump's
Well,
first
she
baby
fell down the
mom.
stairs.
That's true. Wait. Yeah, before she fell down the stairs. Before she fell down the stairs, you just never really heard anything from her. You never hear from like Hugh Hefner's first baby mom.
Oh no, I think she was embarrassed. She was just like, ew.
Girl. But anyway, we can go ahead and jump into the episode. Oh, I also wanted to say we have 90 subscribers on Spotify. That is crazy. Remember when we had 50 and we were like, how did
Yeah.
we get to 50? Like what?
I'm like, 50 people are
90?
listening to me? Now it's 90? Who's listening? And I'm
Right?
like narrowing it down. I'm like, this is more people that I associate with on a daily basis. So yeah, those are people that actually like to listen. That's awesome.
That is awesome. I am so happy about that. And yeah, I mean, if you are listening and haven't subscribed yet, or not subscribed, but like followed yet, follow the show. Like you can follow us on Spotify, Apple, like anywhere you get your podcasts, we're everywhere. So thanks for listening. And
Thank you.
let's go ahead and jump into our episode.
Sweet. All right. We are back and we are now going to go over the actual court documents from Mr. Combs. Now, when we say that when there's smoke, there's fire, a lot of people think, well, Cassie just did that because she wanted money or a payout. This dude has had multiple lawsuits around him for like decades now, and they are all saying the same exact thing and him doing the same exact thing and the same exact method to these people,
And
gender notwithstanding.
I feel like people dismiss it because it's kind of the same with R. Kelly when he, had all this stuff coming out against him. People are still like, well, there's no proof and those girls were fast, and people will come up with excuses for everything. So, I'm just a normal, regular, schmegular girl. I didn't know that he had all these things. It's just not public. Like he works harder than Kris Jenner to like bury the stuff against him. So, I mean, if you didn't hear about these things, don't feel bad. It's intentional.
Yeah, and also it also helps him that like the nature of his crimes are like so graphic. Like you can't really talk about it on the daily news. You can't talk about it
Right.
on the radio. You just be like, okay, he was accused of such and such. We can't go into detail. And of course, when somebody hears that, they're like, oh, she could make up anything. But then when you actually open the document and see what he did and see the evidence, and you're like,
Like,
oh,
ooh.
yeah, he did
Yeah, and
that.
so that's why, we had a disclaimer in the last episode. We want to tell you again, listener discretion. We're warning you, we will be going into the details and it's not pretty. I mean, it's sexual assault, abuse, grooming of men and women. So if you, feel like it might trigger you, listen to a happier episode. We have happy episodes, like we mentioned. Like, We Love Your Baby Mama. That is a great, happy, cute, like Dee says, adorable episode, warm and fuzzy. So, check that one out. But this one, it's gonna get a little dark. But you know what I always say? I'm a big like documentary watcher. And I always say, like, even when it gets dark, watching documentaries is like, somebody made this for a reason. Like, I feel like I have to witness it. Like, I want to know what's going on in the world. Like, sometimes I need to know, like, even the dark stuff. So, like, we just want to warn you, it will get dark.
Yeah, I agree. That's also why I kind of included some of the details. Like I use like some language that probably will like pass censors, but I just kind of wanted to clarify what happened because I think it needs to be specific. Like what was done in the dark needs to come to light for everybody to know what you did. It can't be whispered about. Like lay it all out plain. You did this. This is heinous. So we have Cassie. That's the big one. Cassie's case. Well, all of the cases are very upsetting, but Cassie's case really hit hard. Cassie, that poor girl, he met her when she was 19 and he was 37. And he started the abuse pretty
Disgusting.
much off the bat. Yeah. And she said the what was it, like the crux of her actually leaving is when he R-worded her. When she was trying to like physically leave her own home, he just pinned her down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
Let's back up for a second. So she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old. And I know that there's probably listeners to this episode or to our show that are in age gap relationships and think it's okay. But I mean, 37 and 19, I'm 34. I have like, when I talk to teenagers, I'm like, this is a child. And Diddy met her and thought, this is somebody I can say, I'm going to help you with your music career and prey upon, which is exactly what he did. And then held her down and like forced himself on her. Like, it's unconscionable. So
The conscience. I mean, like, it's just disgusting. I can't even. I don't even want to hang out with people that are like in their early 20s because it's like you don't even have like years of drinking under your belt. Like, if you go out with me,
right.
you'll get really tipsy. Like, I'll have to babysit you.
You haven't seen dark shit. Like, you'll be like, oh, a van with candy? Like, no, I'm just kidding. Not that dumb,
There
but
we
still,
go.
I mean, just no. So 19 and 37, but I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, and what really led to his downfall is that he forced her into trafficking, and there is evidence that he recorded it because he put cameras all throughout her house or the hotel room. And if you remember, he did that to his baby mama too. All up in her house with all those cameras, monitor her every single move. All
And that's
right.
really disturbing because it's like you're not feeling safe in your own home. Like your home is your sanctuary where you can be private and, do anything and just be comfortable. But someone's watching your every move. Like if you remember in the last episode, we said that he like left an awards show to like find his baby mama Kim Porter. Like she's not where she's supposed to be. Like that's so disturbing. If you don't have that kind of stability where you can just go home and be safe in your own home, it messes you up mentally. Like I'm on Twitter now, and some young girl, she was probably like 18. She was like, I don't get why women stay in abusive relationships. And it's like the thing is, like, if you've ever been like, for example, like sleep deprived or like really really hungry, like feeling hunger, like, when you don't have all of your faculties, like your basic needs, like if like Maslow's like hierarchy of needs, if you don't have your basic needs met, you start to act really irrationally. Like you don't think like a rational, normal person. And so she's already 19 years old. She doesn't know anything. And so if she thinks somebody like putting like Molly in her drink, like, oh, maybe that's just what guys do. Like, I'm in the music industry. Maybe that's just the music industry. He purposely chooses young women to take advantage of, like, but anyway, that that's kind of background to explain how this could happen to like any young person.
It really can. And not even, I would say, any young person. It can happen to somebody like you're 5 years into marriage. You don't know if he can flip a switch. You don't know if he's been hiding that personality his entire time. He just got sick of it.
It's
So,
very true. You have to be very careful. That's why, like, in women's, like, pro women blogs, they talk about, like, vetting. Like, you got to vet them forever. Like, you kind of have to just always not be, like, watching over your shoulder, but, like, for any little change, you just never know. It's just another person. It's not you. Like, a lot of times women, since we are kind of raised to be so, like, selfless, we kind of project that onto others, thinking, like, oh, well, how could he be wanting to manipulate and hurt me all the time? He's so nice to me sometimes, not really realizing that those times where he's nice to you is just for like manipulation purposes because we're not like that. We're not socialized to be like that. So we can't fathom when a man is being like that. And that's why it's so hard to finally accept, like, okay, maybe this person is crazy and dastardly.
yeah. Especially,
But
I mean, yeah, like our families basically beat it into our heads too. Like when you're raised in like a family, like you can't be too outspoken or you'll be a B word, or why won't you just
right.
talk to him? Like that's really nasty of you just not to do that. Just
Smile
they're
more.
making you, yeah, making you able to be. They're making you into putty.
We're
So
raised
it's
to like make men comfortable and make sure, oh, if he's like sexually harassing you, just laugh it off. He's just flirting. He's only like bullying you because he likes you. Like, get the fuck out of here.
yeah, or like the best one was like, well, what did you do to incur his attention? Buy a bag of potato
Right.
chips, accidentally make eye contact with him. I don't know.
Be 19 years old, mind my own business, trying to have a music career.
Yeah, vaguely look like his baby mama.
But
So
anyway, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Please continue.
So another thing in the court documents, another thing that he tried to do, that he blew up Kid Cudi's car for talking to her. Just straight up blew it up.
So disrespectful.
She
That's
has
like
the
some Grand Theft Auto type shit.
Yeah, and she wouldn't have mentioned it. I think she had some evidence to like back that up. But yeah, they were about to be in a relationship, like date normally, and he completely cut that off.
And somebody,
And
like, who represents Kid Cudi or maybe, like, a source or something confirmed that this happened and that it was Diddy, and
yeah, you blew up my car, dude.
I don't think Kid Cudi, like, pursued any type of charges. I mean, if you listen to Kid Cudi's music, he suffers from, like, severe anxiety, relatable, but, like, I don't think he wanted that smoke. He had enough
Just
smoke from his car blowing up.
yeah, I was just be like, you got it. Like that would be me. I'm
Yeah,
like, you got it. Whatever. Never
he
mind.
I
It's
wasn't
not
in
that
the car,
serious.
so let me
See,
just
I'm like,
move
it's not
on.
that serious. It's 100 other girls out here. You never mind.
Right, so basically, he forced Cassie into sex trafficking, recorded it, he was brutally beating her, he broke bones, broke, like, her nose, and would just send her off to get it fixed, just like he did with Kim Porter, blew up a guy's car that she tried to date, like and then it gets worse, I'm sorry, go on.
Okay, yeah. So this is like the worst part of it is that he forced her in these freak offs, and you think freak off was just like a weird party? No, he would force her to find, book, and perform with multiple male sex workers in front of him while she was under the influence.
And there are some male sex workers who have come out and said, like, "Yeah, I was in it, like, they hired me with money," like, and confirmed this, so
Yeah, and that also kind of like rolled to like because she was so terrified, like she was a 19-year-old girl, she didn't want to do that stuff. So to like kind of break her down and make her want to do it, he kept her high. Like he had like an endless supply of drugs. He would just keep her constantly high to the point that like she said that she would start a freak off, so that she would wake up and there'll be another guy there, and she's still doing it.
oh god.
And this went on for like 11 years, and when she tried to go to the police, he reminded her that she had a lot to lose, like reminding her of her family. Like, I know where your family is, basically. That's 11 years of this. And he didn't stop with her. Like, even when he had little flings with other girls or anybody else, but that was the main person that he tortured. And at
So
one point,
disturbing.
I know, like, there's one that was in the court documents that I couldn't get over. He forced her to call him Pop Pop.
Ooh, god, that's what I call my or called my
That's
grandfather.
exactly he was like he was like eavesdropping on her conversations, and she figured it out. That's what she calls her grandfather, and he was like, you have to call me that
Oh my god. Ew.
now.
Ew.
Yeah,
Ew, dude.
electric chair.
Fucking lethal
So
injection.
she finally kind of
Whoa.
got away from him at one point. So she returned the car and the house he paid for, and she like moved away. But somebody that I guess is like they didn't know exactly what was going on, like celebrity gossip sites, and they posted where she was, like where she tried to flee to. They're like, "Oh, we spotted Cassie doing such and such," and she was like, "I was trying to
Ugh,
hide from Diddy."
that's terrible.
Yeah. So they said that even after the hiding, and he kind of left her alone, she had an insane amount of PTSD. Like you did not hear from her for a while because she was an inpatient. Like she was an inpatient. Like she was still physically addicted to what he was giving her. Like she really needed to detox not only of that, but they said that she said in the court documents that there was no way that she could live the way that she was living. Like she said that she couldn't even fall asleep at night because she would relive every single one of those freak offs.
That's so fucking sad. I mean, I I feel like honestly, I'm happy for her now because, she has 2 kids. She has a husband who, you see they post on social media, they look very happy together, and she has said that her children, like, saved her and, stopped her from being addicted to drugs and alcohol, and, like, I'm so happy for her that, she was able to move on. She filed, like, a civil suit against Diddy. I don't remember how much it was for. It's for a lot, and he settled and had to pay it all to her. Um, and good for her. But it's like that doesn't take away like 11 years of suffering, and then the rest of her life to have her name and have to be associated with that pervert. Like,
I mean, he
Oh
basically
god.
took and it's like the thing too, is just like trauma's always attached to things. Like, he probably took the joy out of life. You can't have a drink without thinking, oh my God, did somebody put something in this? You can't sit next to your
Right.
husband without thinking, oh my God, is he going to turn into him? Like,
Right. You can't trust anybody anymore. Like, and like, luckily, like I said, like I see on social media, they look so happy. Like, and he looks like he takes care of her. I just want the best for her. Like, that's just so sad what she went through.
yeah, I mean, that's like a stain on our heart forever. Like, that's, yeah. I mean, like, I recommend that you guys, like, I couldn't get into full detail of what was in the court documents, but please search it up. It's right there on the internet for anybody to find. Read through what she had to go through before you make any opinions on his court cases and his legal troubles, because that was nobody settles because they're innocent. Let's put it like that.
Like Donald Trump says, you don't settle if you're innocent. And then he pays Stormy.
A man of his word.
Stormy Daniels, living large. But so next we want to talk about Lil Rod. So
This one's a
Rod
beefy one. This is one I
Rod
think that like brought it down.
you think this was the thing?
Yeah, because he had so much like video and photo evidence because it
Yeah,
was so
that's
recent.
true. Yeah, that's very true. So Lil Rod is a producer. Basically, so he stayed with Diddy and they were working on music together. And he has come out and he said that he was being groomed for like horrible things when he was staying with him. And like Dee just said, he has a lot of like video and photo evidence of like everything that went down. So he says that he witnessed sexual assault to minors, many who were visibly under 16. And so like Nancy Grace has come out and said that she thinks like Diddy is like he's like a Jeffrey Epstein type person, like just sex trafficking kids. Like we don't really have a lot of detail into that yet, but that's what he has said that he witnessed. He said that he was sexually assaulted by Young Miami's cousin, which Diddy commanded, and there's video evidence of it. And it was her female cousin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was her female cousin basically like cornered him in the bathroom, and like he's like clearly saying like, no, no, I don't want it, I don't want it, and she's like backing him up. Basically, like, like you're caught with, your hand is on your thing, you're caught and this lady's in the bathroom with you. How does that make you look?
Right. So you have like no choice. Like it's sad. It's really fucking sad. He also claims that he was sexually assaulted by Cuba Gooding Jr., the actor. You know, the actor who's like this goofy guy. He's always playing like goofy, funny roles. Diddy commanded that, Cuba go after him, I guess. And so there's apparently video evidence of this.
Did you see the
Um,
picture?
I
He
did.
was all up. Um, there's no
It's
other
just
context to that.
it's so fucking disturbing. It's like Cuba Gooding Jr. Like there's so many names that have come out, and it's just like what, like, because it's hard sometimes not to associate like the actor, with the characters. And so you never see really, like, at least not that I know of, Cuba Gooding Jr. playing bad guys, but he is a bad fucking guy in real life. And so yeah, there is a picture of him like all up on Lil Rod, and it's gross with the context because it looks like just a normal picture of people hanging out, but he is abnormally close to him. It's
Like,
gross.
and you should see his smile, like he's about to do something to you, and it's not
Yeah, like
even
it
that.
looks sinister. It has like red lighting and everything. Like it is of the devil. Like,
And it's like messed up because like I was like, wasn't he like accused of like diddling people before it? Yeah, he was. Cuban Gooding Jr. can't keep his hands to himself, so Lil Rob was in danger in that
good
picture.
God,
He was in danger.
you in danger, girl.
Oh yeah, Diddy also groped his genitals violently. Like he said, it wasn't like a gentle grope. He said it hurt so bad.
Oh God. Oh god, it's just so sad. Like why would you, what kind of sick person gets off on this, like violently groping somebody? Like he also forced him to watch homosexual pornography in order to coerce him, like Lil Rod, to sleep with Diddy. He was like, watch this like gay porn. Like you can't just change somebody's sexuality or like influence it. But that's what Diddy loved to do. Give people drugs and like make them do shit they didn't want to do.
So basically, like he was like, I just can imagine little Rod. Like he's probably like the little kid. Like you ever see that meme of the kid at Popeyes? It's like his little Terry at Popeyes holding the cup, and his eyes are darting around, and
Right?
his Diddy coming and showing him homoerotic stuff. He's like looking around, like, oh boy, mm.
Oh god. So fucking disturbing. And so he would like drug him up. That's Diddy's signature thing, giving people drugs, and then forcing force him to engage in sex acts with sex workers, his other signature move. And so he would like drug the sex workers too. So everybody was just drugged up and he was just forcing them to do whatever he wanted. And he took Lil Rod's car keys under threat of violence if he tried to leave. So imagine that. I mean, I don't know how young or like what his age was at the time, but like imagine you're just like, you think, oh, I'm gonna be at a party. Someone just drugs you and forces like Cuba Gooding Jr. on you and like all manner of people, and you're just like, I just want to leave, I just go home. Like you like sober up a little bit. He's like, no, I'll kill you if you try to leave. Like hide your car keys. Like, oh my god.
Then he's like, get him, girls, and then like four ladies with BBLs come up and sit on you. Like there's no coming out of this.
You're not making it out.
No.
So he's apparently witnessed the shooting of one of Diddy's sons, Justin Combs. His friend G was shot at a recording studio, and he has said that he has PTSD from witnessing that and other violence. And apparently, one time, Diddy stood at the bottom of his bed with guns, bragging about how he has gotten away with shooting people, like just waving his guns around.
He said he would wake up, and that was what he would woke up. He would just wake up first thing in the morning. He would open his eyes. Diddy holding guns. Yeah, I
Diddy just
shot
high on
somebody.
coke, waving
Yeah,
guns around,
he has
pink
like a pink
cocaine.
trail around his nose. Yeah, I shot somebody, and I got away with it. I don't know where your keys are.
I'm so disturbed by that imagery.
This is like the
So
worst. This is like literally like the description of hell.
he is a final boss of bad baby dads, because there are still like, innocent women that are associated with him purely because they had a child by him, and this is like their children's father. Like this man is a father. That's why we're talking about him. Like yes, there are bad people out there who don't have kids, but this show is about bad baby dads, and he's doing all these things. Is he raising his kids? No, but once they become of age, or whatever age he decides is of age, they come, you'll see as we go on the episode. They're at these parties, like they're part of it. And Diddy publicly, he would have like his birthday party every year. He would have these white parties with celebrities. But then it's like late after all the celebrities leave, like, all the ones who don't want to do terrible things leave. This is what goes on. Pink cocaine, waving guns around, like shooting people and getting away with it. Oh, goodness. So, to continue, Lil Rod also says that Diddy used him as a drug mule for his specific brand of pink cocaine that we mentioned in our last episode, Tucci. And if you're not familiar with what a drug mule is, basically like just somebody who traffics it for you, and that means sometimes you're gonna have to like hide it on your person, like in orifices, wherever you can hide it, so that you can cross state lines and borders without like getting in trouble. So he did like act as a drug mule for the pink cocaine. And he claims that Justin Combs, Diddy's own son, would attend the freak offs with him, as we mentioned. And of course, there's video evidence and pictures of that out there somewhere. And so now there's a report that Diddy is threatening his Lil Rod's ex-wife and 8-year-old daughter, saying like if you say anything, like I'm gonna come for them. Like, and he can, that's the thing about Diddy, like he can touch you. He's a near billionaire. It doesn't matter. Like somebody with that much money and resources,
Oh God,
you
Brie, the
have
phrasing. He can touch you.
oh my
He
I didn't
will.
even think about that. He will touch you. He will get out his diddler fingers and touch you. No, but like what I meant was you're findable. That's what touchable means. Like you're findable. He can find your family. He can things can happen and he can get away with it. He has that much money. So
And he can just leave if he wants. You can't go anywhere. He knows where you are. You will
he
be
knows where your
touched.
family is. He'll hide your keys and threaten to kill you. He will like use your worst fears against you. He's like fucking Jigsaw from
Like a
from
freaky
Saw.
jigsaw, isn't he? Oh
Freaky
my God, he is a freaky jigsaw.
Oh my god.
We're just laughing at the absurdity of it. Like, how is this dude able to get away? He can't keep getting away with it. Like, this
The
isn't
diddler.
funny, but how? Like, this is too cartoonishly evil. This is
He
like
probably has
a
like
really zesty Joker.
he probably has a real life fixer that's just like he's like, oh, Diddy done did it again, fix it. And he just goes out and fixes it.
It's like he's like Walter White, but it's like instead of blue meth, it's pink coke. Everyone's in BDSM gear. Like, it'd be a really weird show.
I'm stealing that.
Bad
Yeah,
things are
no.
happening.
And it's been decades that he's gotten away with this. Like it's just wild. And his own kids, like I mean, we talked about this a little bit in the Boosie Badass episode, like how he had like sex workers hook up with his kids underage because he's like, they're men, they need to know, they need to learn. But then like wouldn't let his daughter watch a movie where two women kissed each other even though he has a song called They Dyken. But anyway, regardless, and like you see how these baby dads like they get their kids involved in their bullshit. Like it's just like choose your baby daddies wisely. Like, good lord.
Yeah. So there was the one Jane Doe, again, underage. She was 17 years old, and Diddy assaulted her in a group with three other men after drugging her when he was 34. And the details of that case, I can't even mention what he did. I can't even mention what he did.
I don't even want to know, frankly. Like,
Yeah, Jane
I
Doe number one, I can't even mention what he did to her, but it was three men involved and him.
17. God. 17 years old, it's like where you're like, I'm just about to become an adult. You're like just graduating high school. And I'm sure she was probably somebody who he's like, oh, make your music career. You know, somebody with hopes and dreams. And he just destroyed them just because that's what he likes to do.
And she has photo evidence as well, even though it was back in the day. Like, it's her clearly in the recording studio, clearly a teenager with a teenager's body sitting on his lap. So,
And you see that a lot with people who are like serial, like rapists or serial killers even. They like to have trophies of their crimes. And so you see like R. Kelly, for example, like he had thousands of tapes, like VHS tapes, thousands of DVDs of his crimes against
that already
children.
makes you a chomo. Like, no, there's no sane reason to have thousands of anything.
Right. And you know, now with the internet and like cloud technology, they have like so much footage they can just store forever. Like it's just so disgusting, so sick.
But you know what I mean, though, right? Like, like the average guy that like is addicted to that type of thing, he doesn't store thousands of it in his like.
Right.
He doesn't store thousands and thousands and thousands of like tapes in his house. That's like a
Exactly.
specific chomo behavior. It's just like, why do you have a laptop nobody can touch? What is that? What's that about?
So fucking gross.
All right, the next one is Lisa Gardner. He drugged and sexually assaulted her again. Did the same thing with another man, and then he strangled her.
And I feel like that's a common thing that he does with women, strangling. And like not strangling to death, but just strangle enough to like cut off your airflow and like make you pass out, basically.
Yeah, pro tip, ladies. If a guy ever puts his hands on your throat, he has a 500% chance of actually ending your life. Never let somebody put
Yeah.
their hands on your throat. There's actually like statistics of it.
And if you die, legally, if he goes into court and says, well, it was consensual, we were doing BDSM, he will get off and there will be no justice. That's, I mean, you can look that up. They will
Definitely.
say, like, huh?
So definitely, yeah.
Yeah, they'll say, like, oh, we were just having freaky sex. And they're like, well, I guess he was right and let you off. Like, it has happened. And that's why, like, when people kink shame, we should bring back kink shaming. That should be a thing. It should not be your kink. You should not get off on hurting people. I always say when it comes down to like BDSM, right? People say like, "Oh, I get off on like, you know, like spanking a woman." Like and then somebody's supposed to be on the receiving end of that, like getting off to pain. And it's like we're supposed to be like okay with that, right? But if somebody told me I get off on stubbing my toe repeatedly on like sharp knives, like wouldn't you think like something's wrong with that person? Why is one acceptable and one's not? Like, no, pain is not something you should be getting off on. Hurting other people is not something you should be getting off on. So, sorry to sound preachy, but I just want to open your mind. Like, think about that the next time somebody's like, hey, let me choke you. Like, no, choking is not normal. It should not have been normalized as much as it has been.
No, no. Ew. I'm sorry, I just have the worst taste in my mouth talking about this.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next victim is Joy Dickerson Neal. So Diddy drugged and sexually assaulted her, and then he made revenge porn against her, which is where you like record someone and then like show it around like to shame them. So that's what he did. He circulated it, and that was a threat that he held over Cassie and many, many others. Like anybody who came around him, he had revenge porn of them. And if you piss him off and don't do what he wants you to do, he will circulate it. And in her case, you know, she's a black woman. Like it just kind of shows that he has like the noir, which is where you're specifically like monstrous towards black women, like because he never circulated anything about Cassie or like other like light skinned women that he was with, but for Joy Dickerson Neal, it was just like whatever, you don't matter, and just circulated everything.
Yeah. Like I noticed that he's way more brutal to like black women than he is to anybody else. He didn't touch J Lo at all.
I think JLo was kind of like, I think it was more of like a PR thing because that lasted what, like a week? Like
That was enough time for him.
that's true. Because day one, he's at you with pink. Want to do some pink blow, like off a hooker's dick? Like he's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think it wasn't he like messing around with like Cameron Diaz and stuff. Like they never said he did anything to him. He just really saved it for like the black women in his life.
Cameron Diaz? I did not know that.
I swear I saw it somewhere.
So, it had to be one of them.
These are his various other complaints. He threatened to hit Kimora Lee Simmons when she was pregnant, and he knew that she was pregnant because she was visibly pregnant. Because she was
Wait.
best friends with Kim Porter. And
Oh, that
she
explains
called him
that.
out on a comment that he didn't like, that she didn't like, that he made about her. And he threatened to like punch her in the stomach. And Kimora was
Damn.
pregnant. Yeah.
That's really fucking disturbing. So
Yeah, she don't
he's
fuck
just
with
a
him.
psycho. Like he just doesn't have any care for anybody. I mean, pregnant women is like the one thing that you would think people are like, oh, she's pregnant, like whatever. No, he was like, I'll hit you. Like that's crazy.
And the next one, and this was like a big one that like you don't get a lot of information on, but it's really effed up. He packed 5,000 people into a gymnasium that only fit like 2,700 people. So it was nearly
Ooh.
double the amount of people that could have fit in there. And it was for a charity basketball game for AIDS awareness. So they said it was a stampede. It wasn't a stampede. It was something even worse because nobody had nowhere to go. It was a human crush.
Ooh, yeah. If you are like me and you go down rabbit hole, look up like crowd crush, where like overpacked rooms, like There was a fire, for example, at a nightclub, and it's like people could not
Yup.
escape because of the crowd crush. When a human crush happens, like people just get stampled and you just kind of get stuck together. Like it's a nightmare.
Yeah, so it was just like bodies on bodies on bodies. And 9 people were crushed to death by others. Like it wasn't like against walls or anything. It was just people on people being crushed to death. And what was it? 29 people up were like seriously injured. And this is what like got him fired from Uptown Records because they specifically told him this is a charity thing. Do not promote this like this is a club. Do not let people in. He didn't care. He threatened people. He threatened security. Let these people in. Let them see Diddy. And look what happened.
Psychotic.
Yeah. They said that was like a sacrifice to him, like you know how people are with the Illuminati. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past him. I
like they
think
said about
he would have
Travis
done that.
Scott.
He would have done that.
Travis Scott had a similar situation at his like concert where it was a crowd crush. People were getting crushed and ambulances couldn't get through and he was just standing there humming. He's like la, la, la. Like go listen to our We Hate the Card Generous too, where we talk about that. But anyway, back to Diddy. So there's videos of this that are supposed to be normal. You can look at Diddy and he looks coked out. His eyes are darting all around. And he's like, I got full custody of Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber was 15 years old, and for 48 hours, Diddy was like, he's staying at Camp Diddy, basically, where he's like, we're gonna try to get some girls. And Justin's 15. He's like new to the music industry. You know, he had just been discovered by Usher, who was probably also groomed by Diddy, allegedly.
Very Epstein.
Yes. And so, like, we know how Diddy, like, he traffics people, he forces like prostitution on people, for example, with Cassie and Lil Rod. So I mean, make of that what you will. Like you can go on Google and type in Justin Bieber Camp Diddy and see like him all coked out looking around. Justin Bieber, I got custody of him. And people will say like, oh, it's like Justin Bieber's mom's fault for not protecting him. Like, and it is a little bit, but it's like back then, I mean, I think it's only now that people realize celebrities and rich people aren't infallible. Like for some reason people think like wealth is a virtue and it's actually not. Like I don't know, I'm an atheist, but in the Bible it says like it is easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what Jesus said. Like those were words from Jesus's mouth. Like wealth corrupts, and when you have $1 billion, like, and you can just buy anything including people, and you invent a new drug like pink cocaine, it corrupts you. And this like Epstein, obviously very wealthy, Diddy very wealthy, like it's a very corrupting thing. And these types of people want to corrupt other people. And so I mean, I don't know if Justin Bieber is going to come out and tell his story, but there is a story there.
Yeah, you noticed like during some time, wasn't he having like a little blow issue? I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like his like drug of choice. So I wondered if he was already exposed to it like that young. I remember like I don't know what year it was, but there was like paparazzi pictures of him taking key bumps in his car and like bawling. I was like, oh boy.
And yeah, he had the like white like coke boogers all around his nose. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
And you
like
can just
borderline
see
Amanda Bynes.
like the spiraling. And you can just see when like somebody's strung out, especially with paparazzi photos, because a high flash bulb like that can basically like shine through people's clothes, like Kanye's wife Bianca. But anyway, like you could just see he was strung the fuck out for a long time.
Yeah. He also hated Wendy Williams, and everybody was praying that she would just miraculously get her faculties together to just like put the nail in the coffin on him because he hated Wendy. Like he threatened her while she was in New York City at a radio station when she like released his zesty photos. She was like, "This is zesty as hell." She doesn't cut denial is a river in Egypt. She doesn't cut any corners when it comes to stuff like that. She's a gossip. She's a gossip blogger basically.
Right.
And
And And that's the thing about Wendy Williams. Like, if you didn't know, she's suffering from like what dementia or is it Alzheimer's? I'm not really sure, but she's under like a conservatorship, I think, and so it's just like she's basically locked down to the point where she cannot come out. And even if she had the faculty, like she's not in a position that she could come out and speak. But that would be amazing if Wendy Williams could come back and just maybe someone will find like private like diaries or something that she kept.
I hope, and
Because
I hope it's messy too, because they
she's a
hated each
national
other.
treasure.
All
Yeah,
right,
definitely Diddy. That's the type of person Diddy would hate because they actually care what's going on and like will find your business and find your dirt. Like that's what she was known for. So
that's what I say. I'm like, I don't. Everybody has a place in the world, and like everybody's like, oh, she's a big mouth. She's always telling people secrets. I'm like, well, yeah, but
some
there's
secrets
also a
need to
good
be
side to
told.
that. Yeah, because she'll run her mouth, and 9 times out of 10 she'll be right.
Right, exactly. And if you have nothing to hide, then oh, Diddy's like cuddling your kitty. It's so
Sorry, she
cute.
wanted a kiss.
That was adorable. She like leaned in, like, "Mom, kiss me." Oh. Anyway, I'm sorry, but she like did not beat around the bush. Like she was very direct. Like she has an interview with Whitney Houston where she's like, "Was it coke? Was it crack? What was it, Whitney?" Like it was so funny.
She was a firecracker.
Yeah. And so there have been recent developments about the situation.
The
So
Freako raid.
so a RICO case is like what does RICO stand for? Hold on. I'm gonna look it up.
I think that's for weapons, right?
No, like it's an acronym. RICO stands for
Oh yeah,
Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. And they originally had it to convict mob bosses because you would have like your like, street level gang members that like answered up to the bosses. And so they had to find a way to get the top people because the top people are just sitting in a back room like shooting dice and like, playing pool and shit, and the people out on the streets, they're if you arrest them, another one will pop up tomorrow. So they came up with Rico in order to be able to catch people like Diddy. And so they're calling it the Freako raid for obvious reasons. But that's what that means. So the Freako raids. So the Homeland Security raided Diddy's Miami and LA homes, as you probably heard, for a federal human trafficking investigation, which is major because the Homeland Security doesn't just raid you just because. They had to have something major, you know?
yeah. Like they got a tip or something. Well, you know what? I think that they actually had like 3 people like sign off. We'll get into the details of that. We'll get into the details of that later.
Right. So, obviously there were like drones and helicopters flying over the properties, like witnessing boxes and bags of evidence that were being seen loaded into trucks. And law enforcement sources have said that the feds moved in so swiftly because they needed to seize Diddy's phones and computers. And there are talks of his other properties being hit next. And so prosecutors in New York have interviewed 4 anonymous people, 3 women, 1 man, about his sex trafficking allegations. And neighbors were seen on video complaining that he was bringing minors by the busload to his house in the middle of the night. Busload of minors in the middle of the night. And they could hear the noise from the freak offs like in the neighborhood. And this is not like the regular suburbs. These are like wealthy, like gated communities with lots of space between these big houses, and they could hear the noise from the freak offs. And law enforcement didn't do anything about it, obviously, because he's a billionaire. But now that it's public, they're like, oh, okay, well, now we got to do something. So,
Can you imagine that? Like finally making it in life. You got your own like estate. You just hear far off freaky screams in the distance. You see
like,
a school
save
bus
me.
going past, and you're
I
like,
don't
we don't
want
have
to
a
do
school
pink
around
cocaine.
here. Yeah, like you see a school bus going past with a bunch of 16-year-old girls. We don't have a school, but we don't have a school around here, do we?
Oh, God.
What are their uniforms? Why are they so short?
What's this pink cocaine mist in the air? Like, just a hint of Tucci. Okay, so about his kids. So his son, who is now 30, Justin, and King, who is 25, Justin and King Holmes. So during the raids, like, they were detained, and so there's footage of them handcuffed, and the feds are talking to them. And this stuck out to us particularly, like, a bad baby dad moment, because where was Diddy when all this was happening? He was nowhere to be found.
He's like,
And
I'll see
people
you in hell, kids.
right. He just skated off into the evening, like, ha ha ha. Sorry, Justin and King. Better luck next time. The diddler gets away again, and like, just ran off into the night. And so there was like the people of the internet, netizens as they're known, were like, "Where's Diddy?" And somebody saw him, or at least what looks like him, just pacing back and forth somewhere in Florida. Like, they could identify that it was Florida, and he's just pacing around. And it's like, you let your kids get arrested while you were just like trying to save your own ass. And so there was a rumor that a private jet that he owned was trying to leave the country, and I don't think he was actually on it. I mean, I don't even know. Like, it could have been anybody was on it. I mean, it's just a private jet that he owned. But that just stuck out to me because I'm like, he involved his kids in this lifestyle. These kids don't know any other lifestyle. I mean, they probably were mostly raised by their mothers. And then when they became of a certain age and they're in these freak offs, and they probably think this is normal because it's their dad telling them, like, oh, yeah, like doing pink cocaine off some like hooker man's ass is normal. And that's what they were raised doing. And next thing you know, they're staying there in handcuffs. Diddy's nowhere to be seen. So anyway, I think the feds let them go, and they were seen fleeing with packed bags after the raid. And Justin, who is actually not even Diddy's real son, like, he's Albie Shore's son, who's an R&B singer. He publicly said, like, Justin, you can come live with me. The door is open. But it's like he skated off into the evening when Justin was a kid. So it's like, how do you even trust him, you know? But
Yeah, and he almost got by Diddy when he was like, I don't like what Diddy's doing. And you blinked and he was in a coma with multiple organ failure, and he's like, let me be quiet when he woke up.
right. But I mean, that is nice of him that he's now stepping up when Justin's 30 years old to say, you can come hide out at my house. Like, fuck you, I'll be sure to hit a dance and like sing a new song. Like, release the album or shut the fuck up. So
That poor kid, dude.
right.
All right, we got to get to the nitty gritty of the harem.
The harem.
So, Young Miami actually has been named in the lawsuit of transporting the pink cocaine that he's known for. And now she is a confirmed sex worker that was paid for Diddy. I mean, she didn't lie about that, but she also tried to make it seem like she was more like his girlfriend or his main thing. But we all
That's
knew it was
right.
never like that. We all knew it was kind of
Yeah.
never like that. And it's
I
also
mean,
sad too that she's going down bad because like you think, oh, this is just like a game, I'm just getting like paid to hang out with this guy. Now you're taking a drug charge for him, trafficking.
right.
You're
And
taking
people
a
keep
drug charge.
people keep posting her song where she's like, I'll never snitch on you, daddy. I'll hide a brick for you, daddy. And they're like, are you gonna hide a brick of pink cocaine, Carisha? So
And you know they do use your song lyrics in court. They
they
play it for you.
do, as
They'll be
we've
like,
seen with
"Is
the
this
Young
what you
Thug
said?"
trial. Right? You know how like Young Thug had to be like, pushing P means pushing positivity.
Exactly. He's like, "That's pushing positive." The jury's looking at him like,
So fucking funny. Um, but yeah, so it's come out that like Diddy just had like celebrity women as like his quote unquote sex workers. So in our last episode where we were talking about how 50 Cent was talking about his baby mama, like, I didn't know you were a sex worker, you little sex worker. Yeah, Daphne Joy, one of 50 Cent's baby mamas, was named in the lawsuit. And that's why we mentioned the last episode, um, he tried to like file for custody of their son, and or is it a son or a daughter? I think it's a son, right?
They have a son. It's a
Yeah,
son. He only
Chance.
has
Yeah,
sons.
right. And so, um, I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but
That's going to be an interesting custody case. It's like, okay,
because
the
he didn't even
mom has
raise the
been
kid.
unnamed. That's so bad, but at the same time, if she didn't expose him to that lifestyle, it's just like, well, what can you say? That's just what she was doing. Then it's, but then it's Diddy, and we see what Diddy gets up to. There's a kid involved, but
It's
then it's
really fucked up.
50. It's like the kid has no options.
Right, that's sad. I hope she has family that can watch him because Diddy, I'm sorry, Fiddy is not watching any of his fucking kids, as we've heard if you listen to our 50 Cent episode. So
Um, so we also have Usher. We included him in the harem. I'm sorry, I didn't know where else to put him. I didn't know where else to put Usher. But there's been a video circling around of him admitting that he saw very curious things when he lived for quite some time with Diddy when he was 13 years old. I thought that he lived with him when he was in his 20s and people were talking about that. No, he was like 13. And that was,
I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, because the way he was talking about it, you could tell he was still trying to be respectful. He was like, yeah, I saw some curious things. No, you're a child, a 13-year-old child, just similar to Justin Bieber at 15. You know, it's just a cycle of abuse that just continues and continues. Usher introduced Justin into this world, just like Diddy introduced Usher into this world, you know? So sick, because it doesn't even have to be this way.
it didn't. Like, Usher, poor Usher. Like, I think I did watch a video on it and they said that, like, he would, that's one thing that they said was like a red flag about Diddy. And like in the comments, they were like, never let a man like test your strength or like play fight or wrestle you because it's just like they're just really like feeling you up. And he said that he would play fight with Usher a lot, and Usher wouldn't like that. Like he's 13, like that's not play fighting age. That's a teenager. Why are you throwing me around, man?
I'd be so scared. It's like you're play fighting with this like adult, like a millionaire at the time, like, and you're 13. Like, get off me, man. Ew.
Yeah, it's sick. So we have the drug mule, Brendan Paul. He was found and he was arrested at the Miami airport. Again, this is Homeland Security, so they said it was mostly about the human trafficking, but was I guess drug trafficking would have to come into that too because that can tie into human trafficking using them as drug mules.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Brenton Paul, I mean, he was just like, he was a basketball player, I guess, in college, and he was a member of Diddy's like entourage, if you can call it that, like his circle. And so when all the raids happened, he got arrested, and it was because he was booked for possession of cocaine and controlled substances. And yeah, so he was in his inner circle as one of his mules. It's like everybody was basically a drug mule. It's like if you meet Diddy, he's gonna be like, "Hey, put this like condom full of cocaine up your ass." Like that's just what you did. Like,
And 9 times out of 10, it probably wasn't even for transporting it. He just did it for fun.
right? He's like, I don't even need this. I just want to see what happens. So yeah, it's like firearms and narcotics charges are probably going to be added.
So yeah, there was like a little later section where like we're not sure what's going on here when he like kind of absconded because usually when two of your major properties and homes get invaded by like federal agents, you don't run away from the U.S. You kind of stay so you don't look guilty. But he did. So we don't. Where is he now? Is he back? He's back because he was just
I've
out with his
completely lost
twins.
track. I mean, he posts to his Instagram like normal. He posted, so he has a 1-year-old child at his big age of 54. His 1-year-old child, the like Asian one by Dana Strand, he
The
posted
Asian
like a
one.
happy Easter. His one Asian child, happy Easter from Baby Love. It's like the baby in like pastel outfits, and that's what he posted. Like, I don't think anybody knows where he is. Like, where are you posting that from? He's not in jail. Like,
That was when
it's
they
just
was
not.
trying to get Ghislaine Maxwell. I was like, where is she? She's just like posting shit like taking pictures of herself sipping tea. And it's like, we need the list. Remember she did that for like a year? Everybody forgets about that. Like that woman just was like balling for a year. And everybody was trying to figure out where the hell she was after Jeffrey had hung himself. She was just chilling.
Oh my god, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh, and you know what? I want to make a correction because earlier I said that Justin Combs is Albie Shore's son, but I'm sorry, Quincy Brown is Albie Shore's son. So
Um,
I'm like, was Albie Shore saying that Justin could stay with him to be nice, or like was he talking about Quincy?
I think maybe talking about Quincy.
Oh, okay. So let's
Probably a
we'll
typo.
just- yeah, minor typo. I mean, you know what, whatever. Like there is
He shouldn't
interchangeable
have
to
so many.
us.
He shouldn't have so many goddamn kids, so I wouldn't be confused of which son is doing the diddling.
Yeah, like put your fucking dick in your pants. Stop making so many bastards. No, I'm just kidding. But they're as interchangeable to us as they are to Diddy. I mean, he doesn't give a fuck about his kids, neither do we. But um but yeah, Quincy is Albie Shore's son. But yeah, so we don't know where Diddy is. Like who tipped him off? How is it that his kids were there and he was just like, la la la, I'm somewhere else. Like, we don't know where he is. I don't think he's been arrested. I mean, he's still posting on Instagram. Like, I don't know. Um, they said, like I said, that like there's a video showing that he was like pacing back and forth in Florida, but I just find it odd that he would not be arrested by now. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was it like the Nancy Grace that we were watching that she said that they were still trying to figure out what to actually charge him with. But they're still racking up stuff. Like there's so much shit that he did that they're just trying
Yeah.
to compile every single thing from all these decades to just lay out in front of them, so they can't miss anything.
Yeah, like his days are numbered. He's gonna end up like who's that guy that had to go to Indonesia? Russell Simmons, I think.
Oh, was it? Oh yeah, he's going to get permabanned. He's going to get banned from the server. He's going to get Napoleon, put him on an island
Yeah.
by himself.
I don't know exactly what Russell Simmons did. That should be an episode. You know, we'll put him on the list. But he's in Bali. I don't think he can like come back to the U.S. because
He
apparently
can't.
he did something. But we'll talk about that in another episode. But yeah. So he likes so Diddy sold his stake in Revolt TV to an anonymous buyer. And he put in the notes, please be 50 Cent.
It would just be so funny.
That'd be so delicious if 50 literally would buy Diddy's stake in Revolt TV just to like not even do anything with it, just to be like, I got your shit, bitch. Like that would
He
be
would
so classic 50.
he would just rename it something very homophobic and like make Diddy the mascot just out of spite. That's how he is.
Oh my god, did you know that like did you see people are saying like, you know how back in like the day people used to say like no homo, now they're saying no Diddy because they're like, you know, being homosexual, obviously we know that's not a bad thing, but they're like Diddy, whatever Diddy is, that's bad, so people are saying no Diddy, no Diddy.
You're gonna be so mad at me when I tell you the details of this, but did you know somebody in Philadelphia copyrighted that because they said that they started it?
No way. That's
I swear to
so
God.
Philly. That's so classic Philly.
We're like, no Diddy.
Oh my god. So yeah, there's a lot of memes coming out of this. I mean, you know, you gotta laugh to keep from crying sometimes. But yeah, I mean, Diddy, he's a very abusive man. He traps women and men into feeling like they can't escape. He makes it seem like they stayed willingly. Like if you look back in the day, like Cassie, she had that really trendy haircut, which was like shaved on one side and long on the other side. Apparently, it was like that to kind of like hide bruises on that side of her head from him
Oh
punching
my
her.
God.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But we didn't know as kids in the 2000s. We're like, "Oh my god, I wanna shave my head." I mean, I did at one point. I shaved my sides and back of my head long after the fact because 'cause I'm not trendy, but but, I mean, it's that kind of stuff where what we see watching, TV and music videos and stuff, like, it's not the reality. And actually, sometimes I think the music industry is even shadier than, like, Hollywood, you know? Like,
Yeah,
they're
for
just
sure.
two sides of a very dark coin because, like, you really do not see a lot of what goes on behind the scenes, and a lot that goes into making music is very much behind the scenes in recording studios, on tour buses, backstage. Like, you just don't really know what's going on back there.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just kind of sad that, like, just to showcase your talents, you basically have to, like, throw yourself into, like, a meat market. Like, these people really are, like, making themselves have all this power not to, like, actually help people or have a passion for the art that they're trying to, like, modeling, acting, music. Like you said, it's literally just, like, veiled sex trafficking. And it's like, why? Like, why does everything have to boil down to somebody being sick, sexually sick? Like, I'm tired of it at
Right.
this point. Like, aren't you bored? How many times am I gonna do this?
Right, like, people just wanna have dreams and dance and sing and act, and it's like, you got Diddy's, you got Epstein's, you got Weinstein's, Harvey Weinstein, like, you got people like that that just really wanna take advantage. It's so sick, and I don't wanna be I'm gonna say it, it's always men. But anyway,
Fair. It
so
is.
yeah, it's like you see, like, someone like Ghislaine, she's like a henchman, right? Like, she's not the head honcho. The people at the top are always these, like, powerful, wealthy men, and it's just like wealth corrupts. So,
Yeah.
Kim Porter, I mean, we asked in our poll for the, part 1 episode, what happened. And, we had people vote. Actually, I can look at the poll. I mean, the poll is still open. I keep them open for a while because I know people like to, like, binge and get caught up. But, in the poll, we asked, "What happened to Kim Porter? Was it natural causes, in quotation marks, or she def got diddied?" And 100% said that
Oh my God.
she definitely got diddied. Like, I mean, there's just in my mind, there's no question of that because she was healthy. Like, she was not a sickly person, and then to suddenly die of pneumonia, and then for the like medical examiner to also die, like
Like,
what?
why is everybody dropping like flies? What?
So yeah, I'm with you guys who voted. She definitely got diddy.
Okay. I think it's like we have to still remember, like, this dude is like a father to children. With everything that he's done, do we really believe that this hasn't impacted his kids in one way or another, directly or indirectly by him?
Yeah, so he has those twin girls
Mm.
by Kim Porter. And it's like, can you imagine this is your father? Like, now this stuff coming out, like people speculating that he killed your mother. And they like really, I mean, they loved their mom. They were really grieving very hard. And the public was grieving with them. Like everybody loved Kim Porter. Now, with all these lawsuits and accusations, it's like my father is a sex trafficking, like rapist pedophile who just assaults all these people, and it had to be hidden from them. I mean, they're girls, they weren't at the freak offs. And now thinking that he might have murdered your mom, like that's got to be hard. And then for his sons, I mean, they're adult men, like around our age, like they're corrupted. They don't know any other life.
Yeah, if they were in that house, they were being exposed to it. Like, there's no doubt
Absolutely.
about it.
It's like Boosie's kid, but on steroids, basically.
I don't. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Yikes.
I also do want to put an emphasis on this as our outro is that this is we don't criticize him in like a homophobic way because like everybody's getting hurt by this guy. And I see like a lot of people trying to be like, well, you can't say that about him because that's like insulting gay people. It's like this isn't what gay people do. This man is a predator. Gay and predator are not the same things. He assaults men and he assaults women. That's not sexuality. That's just sick. So yeah, we don't want to hear
Exactly.
that. It's nothing to do with that.
Exactly. And he like purposely likes to blur the lines between consent and predation. But it's clear now that he is a predator no matter what gender he's targeting. So
Yeah. And there's another one that it irritates me. They're like, "We tearing a black man down by." It's like, what has he done for
oh
the
my god.
community? We just literally gave you an example of him trying to do charity work, and 9 people died.
He killed everybody. And I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck. That doesn't keep him up at night. He doesn't care.
His
Like,
one time to uphold the community, and look what he did.
you see that a lot, like with people like Bill Cosby, with R. Kelly. Like they'll be like, "Oh, they're just trying to tear." Like these are predators. Bill Cosby is called Bill Cosby because he was drugging people to rape them, and there are other celebrities who have come out and said that they witnessed this. Nobody cares. They're just like people are just so quick to be like, "Oh, protect black men." Like get the fuck out of here. I'm not protecting somebody who's drugging people. Like, wow. I
If you want to protect black men, you would go against Diddy because that's who's Diddy going after.
right, protect
Like,
Meek
be
Mill.
serious.
um so yeah, it seems like a lot of his victims, not all of them, but like a vast majority of his victims are black people. So you want to talk about protecting the black community and protecting black men, like this is who you gotta stop. um so yeah, like the black community really needs to work on like holding abusers accountable and protecting victims, and people have been saying that for centuries, so hopefully one day it actually becomes a thing, like where we'll stop saying like, oh, he's a black man. Like, no, he's an abuser and a predator.
Yeah. I mean, so coming back to that, I don't think there's any need for a rating. I threw up. I legitimately threw up because I had to read through all of those court documents back to back to see all the juice in them. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with Thomas Jefferson. To me, he was always like the worst of the baby daddies we've covered because he literally enslaved his kids and promised he'd free them but didn't, and then just died. Um but this is like this is on that level to me. Like, I mean, just drugging and raping everybody you know. Like,
Nobody was saved.
nobody's safe now, even because he is such a pillar in the like music community that it's kind of like the police. Like, you know how people say like the police was started as like slave catchers, and so everything that like they pass down, it's fully corrupted. Like anything that he started, every facet, everything he touched is fully corrupted. You'd have to break the entire system and rebuild it from scratch to rid it of like Diddy and wherever Diddy got his tendencies from. So yeah, there's no need for a rating. He's like the final boss of living bad baby dads.
We can't even compare. Like I can't even be graphic with the details of what he did to
I
put
don't
him
want to
on a rating
know.
scale. So no.
I don't even want to know the non-graphic details. I don't want to get more in depth.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we hate Diddy. Fuck Diddy. Like,
we
fuck the
hate him.
people who play devil's advocate for this man. Like,
If you play devil's advocate for Diddy, you gotta be locked in a room with him with his Astroglide and baby oil for 24
drums,
hours.
metal drums in every
Metal
hotel,
drums of it. Yep.
just slick sliding around the hotel, the Four Seasons. Just
Ew.
you know, he does his Diddy dance, like
Oh.
just gliding towards you. Like,
Oh my god, his
oh,
mouth is hanging open because it never closes.
oh god, oh, his little like dolphin teeth.
I hate it. Well, we hate him.
We
Thank you
hate him.
guys so much for listening to this. And
Yes, this
if you
was
want
part
some
two.
brain, yeah, sorry. If you want some brain bleach, if you got this far, please listen to one of our more upbeat episodes to wash all of this from your brain so you don't have to think about it at night because I didn't want to.
Yeah, like listen to like even though Larry Hillblom like gets kind of dark, it's like more lighthearted because it's a mystery. It's like we got into our true crime bag in that one. Or like even our first episode, Elon Musk, as far as we know, he hasn't done anything too dark yet. So listen to something cheerful and happy and leave us a rating. Like give us suggestions because we have a list, but like we want to know who you think we should talk about, and we want to talk about your baby daddies and like your baby daddy's moms. So send us your stories. Like I'm online like collecting stories for like future episodes just out in the wild, but we love when like listeners contribute, as you've heard in past episodes. Like it's always fun to roast somebody's shitty baby daddy. So yeah.
I'm
So yeah,
always ready for it. Just please tell us about them. I'm
absolutely.
always ready. I love making up the nicknames for them.
Me too. So Dee, where can our listeners keep up with us on the interwebs?
You can find us at WHY Baby Daddy Pod. We are on Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
That's right. And if you made it this far, leave a review. Just be like, hey guys, let me just give you 5 stars. You don't even need to say anything. Just bloop, click 5 stars, give us a nice rating. Or you can like answer Q&A, say what did you think about the episode? Tell us what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of. Give us ideas for future episodes, and tune in next week. Every Wednesday, midnight is when a new episode comes out. So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Ta-ta!
Bye.